Hello guys, today I will talk about the attribute binding in Angular. Let me show you my screen. So attribute binding is basically helps you to set values for attributes directly with attribute binding. You can improve accessibility, style your application dynamically, and manage multiple CSS classes or styles simultaneously. So basically attribute is basically, as we know, that is additional information. So let me show you by from the code the attribute binding what it do. So as we know, attribute is just some style here. So as you can see here, the attribute is some kind of additional information, like we have, like in some cases we need to show the area label, and we need to add some disabled tag. So these are the things that we can change dynamically. So here, as I mentioned here, means you can bind the attribute also dynamically here. So this is the, I think these are the points that you also need to keep in mind. So I will talk about these things later. So firstly, I think you firstly need to learn the attribute binding part. So let me add the new slide. So this is some different thing. So so this is all about attribute binding. We will move to the syntax of this attribute binding. So this is the syntax of attribute binding. As you can see here, in the PHTML element, I have added the attribute, and here whatever the whatever the attribute you want to make dynamic, like there are different types of attributes. We have call span, we have area label, we have disabled. So there are lots of attributes, you can bind that, and here you can write the expression. This expression is also available in your code file, in the TS file. Okay, so these are the syntax of attribute binding. Now let's move to the example. So here what I have done, here what I have added the alt tag dynamically, means if value is greater than 1, then we are showing this alt image text. Then if the value is different, then we are showing the different value here. So let me show you by example here. So here it is already there. Okay, so let me present you the example now. So this is the attribute that we have. So let me run this code. So here we are running this attribute binding. So you just need to simply add this in the here. So I have already added all the things, so you can check now. So now it will run the code of attribute binding component, and this is the code that we have. Now let's move to the here. So as you can see here, our first example is this. So what we have here, so if value is greater than 1, then it will add the text 1, otherwise it will text the add 2. So let me show you what is the value here. So value currently here is 2, so it will show the alt text val 1. So let me show you here also in the code. So this is our example 1, and this is the image that we have added, and you can see here what it added. It added the alt text is val 1, because our value is 2. So now let's make the value 0 here. Now it will show the value Now it will show the alt text val2. So as you can see here, it is showing the tag val2. Now let's move to the second example we have. Now let's move to the second example that we have here is the call span attribute we have. So I think I will update you about this example later. So firstly you have to understand the basic example. So now the second example is we have here we have added the area label according to the action name that we are adding. So let me show you here the action name what we have added. So it will add this text this in the area label. So let me present you this second example for assistive technology. So this thing you also going to study in the accessibility. So let me show you here what area label it is showing now. So this is a second example. So as you can see here, we have added the text dynamically here with go for it. You can add the condition and you can update accordingly. Now our third example is we have the disabled attribute. So as you can see here, any use of created disabled attribute. So basically this means disable, as you know, it basically used to disable the content. So as you can see here, what is the status here now? It is true now. So you can see the status there, disabled. So as you can see here, this is disabled now. I think we have added some. Okay, so here we have div different. So now let's move to the disabled attribute. So if you use the disabled attribute with the attr keyword, then it will not disable any content, and and here you can see that both the contents are disabled because it not work on that. It not work with the attr. So these things also you have to keep in mind, and we have had to remove it with the property binding. So as you can see here, so this is the thing that I talk about here in the notes. So it is recommended that you set an element property with property binding whenever possible. So here what we have done, we have used the property binding here. With the property binding, it is not disabled, and with this it is disabled. So in some cases it not work. So you have to use the property binding in that case if something is not work. So let me update it to check it is working or not. So with that you can check all the things, what value it is printing. So let me show you it is working or not. So as you can see here, it is printing the text, means this button is working now. Now let's move to the other part. So let me show you other things here. So as I already mentioned, the syntax, the area attributes, we can use this with attribute, and the call span attribute. So let's move to the advanced example. So as you can see here, so sometimes we need to format our text content. So in that case you can use the call span attributes. So let me show you what is call span exactly. So let's firstly see what is call span attribute and how we can use this with, how you can use attribute binding with that. So call span is basically bind all the things here. Let me show you, means it merge the columns. So here we have seen this. Let me show you some. So this is the common example we have. Now we have the example with the border. Create and set call span attribute. Expression calculates call span equal to 2. So means here it also calculates the things. So this is the advantage of using attribute binding, means it calculates the things also. So let me present you 2 to 6 and property to set. So if you try it with the interpolation, it will not work. So that's why we have added that thing. So let me show you. So if you run that, it will show some error. So as you can see here, cannot bind call span since it is not a property of TD. So that's why we have added this tag, this attr keyword. Let me check the CSS. It's create and set call span attribute. Let me add some CSS here. So this call span is basically changing the things to it basically merge the cell. So let me add some styles here. Table. So we have table, we have th, we have td here. So let me present you with all the things. Now you can see all the differences. what we have created just. So as you can see here, what call span does, it merges the things, it merges the cells. So basically you can see this column, this here we have two columns, and the last column we are showing the sum. So we need to, in that case we need to sum the properties. So here with the call span we can achieve that, we can merge those cells. So this is our, this is done using the attr keyword or attribute binding, or this is the normal case. So let me differentiate it by writing some text here. That is the basic with only HTML CSS, and this is with the attribute binding, with attribute binding. So it merges the cell, and if you remove that, you can see the difference here, what it does. If you remove the call span property, so it will move the cell like this. So that's why we are using the call span tag here. Let me check what is left. So we have discussed the call span also, and we have also discussed the alt attribute, and we have also discussed the disabled attribute. So thanks for watching.